Number 5 asks us to find the missing side. So looking at this triangle, you should recognize this little right triangle sign right here, and that's key. And we know that when we have right triangles, we can use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Just remember that a and b are always legs, and c is always your hypotenuse, or the longest leg. So looking at this picture, it looks like we have an a squared, we have a b squared, and the c that we're going to be solving for is the hypotenuse. So we would need to set this one up. 30 squared plus 40 squared equals c squared. 30 squared plus 40 squared gives you 2500 equals c squared, and c is still not by itself, so we're going to do the opposite of squaring something, which is to take the square root, and what we do to one side we must do to the other side. So the square root of 2500 is 50, and that gives us our final answer of c. Number 6 asks us to find the distance between the points. So this is an opportunity for us to use the distance formula. I've listed the distance formula for you here, but what you need to know is that you're going to be subtracting your x's. So let's look at our x's. We have an x term here of -4 and an x term here of 2. So if I did 2 minus -4 and did keep flip change, that's going to give me 6. I'm going to square that, and now let's take a look at my y's. I have a 3 and a 6, so if I did 3 minus 6, keep flip change, that's going to give me a -3 squared. And now we need to square those numbers. So 6 squared is 36, and -3 squared is going to be a positive. Don't forget, a negative times a negative is always a positive, so that's going to be a positive 9. And then I'm going to add those together. 36 plus 9 gives me 45, and then I'm going to take the square root of that by plugging it into my calculator and taking second square root. And when I do that, it gives me an answer of 6.7. And just remember, anytime that you're asked to find a distance, you can plug that into your calculator and not do the whole ladder method here, because a distance is better said in a number and versus a radical. Number 7 is a midpoint question. Whoa, hey. It's a midpoint question, so you're going to need to use your midpoint formula. So here's your formula, but basically all you're doing is taking your x terms. So we have an x of 7 and we have an x of -3, and we're going to add those together. So 7 plus -3, and then divided by 2. So 7 plus -3 gives me 4, and divide that by 2, that will give me 2. So that's one of my points. And let's look at my y's. I have a y of 1 and a y of 1. So 1 plus 1 divided by 2. So that's 2 divided by 2, which equals 1. So my midpoint, is at the point 2, 1 when giving the above endpoints.